today I'm going to show you how to make this crochet bag. I'm so in love with this one. This is by far my favorite bag, and I hope you love it too. So without further ado, let's get started with the tutorial. To make this bag, you only need one skein of yarn, and this is the description of the yarn. You can pause the video to look at it if you want. So here it says to use a 5.5mm hook, but I ended up using a 5mm hook just because I like better when my stitches are tighter. But this is a personal choice. If you want to use a 5.5, it's still gonna look nice. And you also need a couple of stitch markers and a needle to weave in the ends. To start, you need to chain 30, and to be able to chain 30, you have to start by doing a slip knot. Roll your yarn on your 2 fingers, making an X shape. Put your fingers underneath this here and come grab the second here. Remove your fingers and pull. Now you can adjust it to your hook. So now you can start chaining. To chain, you have to yarn over and pull through. That's 1 chain. Yarn over, pull through. That's 2 chains. Yarn over, pull through. That's 3. So you can continue this process until you have 30 chains on your hook. Now that we have 30 chains, we're going to place some stitch markers. So we're going to put one in the second chain from our hook in the front loop. So 1, 2, we're going to put one here. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So put a stitch marker on the second chain from the end in the front loop. So 1 and 2 here. So putting these stitch markers will help you on the next step. To start row 1, we're going to start with making an increase. And we're only going to work with single crochets for this bag. So you're going to skip the first chain over here, and you're going to insert your hook on the second chain from your hook in the back loop. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So this is your first stitch. You're going to want to put a stitch marker over here. So this is going to help you know this is where your work starts and where we're going to slip stitch in the future. Since we have to increase, we have to make another single crochet in the same chain. So we're going to insert our hook in the same hole that we've just single crocheted in. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So we have 2 single crochets in the same hole. So I know this is gonna sound weird, but you'll have to put another stitch marker in this stitch, and you'll understand why when we're gonna do row 2. So now we're just gonna continue doing single crochets until we reach this last chain over here. So now we have to do 26 single crochets. So you're just going to insert your hook in the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert your hook in the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, insert your hook in the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So now I've done 3 single crochets. I'm gonna do 23 more, and I'll see you guys when I have 1 chain left. So I'm done doing my 26 single crochets, and I have this chain left here. And in this last chain, we're gonna increase again, and we're gonna be doing 5 single crochets in the same chain. So we're gonna insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and you're gonna come and put a stitch marker in this stitch here. So put your stitch marker. So that was one. We're going to insert our hook in the same hole. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 2. Again, insert your hook in the same hole. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 3. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. 4. And 5. So over here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 stitches. We're going to also put a stitch marker in here, the 5th stitch. So now we can take this stitch marker off and insert our hook where that stitch marker was and make 26 single crochets. So you insert your hook in the next loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. When I'm done doing 26 single crochets, I'll have 1 stitch left here where we have our stitch marker, and over here we'll have to increase again. So I'm gonna see you guys when I reach this stitch marker over here. So now I'm done doing 26 single crochets. I'm gonna take off this stitch marker here, and on this last chain we're going to increase again. So we're going to do 3 single crochets in the same loop. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and put a stitch marker there too. Again, put your hook in the same hole, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And we have one last one to make. So put your hook again in the same hole, just like this. And because this is your last stitch, you're gonna want to put a stitch marker there too, to know that this is the end of your work. Now we're gonna go ahead and do a slip stitch. So this here is our first stitch from the first row. So we're going to take off the stitch marker and we're going to put our hook through, yarn over, and pull through all the loops on your hook. Chain 1. Now we have another row of increases to do. We're going to insert our hook in the same hole that we've inserted our hook to make the slip stitch, which is the first stitch of the first row. And we're going to make a single crochet. We're going to put our stitch marker back because this is our first stitch. And we're going to make an increase. So we're going to insert our hook in the same hole. So we have 2 single crochets in the same hole. And we're going to do the exact same thing on the next stitch. So take off the stitch marker, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And once again, we're going to increase. So we're going to insert our hook in the same hole, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So here we've done 2 increases. We've done 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 2 single crochets in the second stitch. And now we're going to continue doing single crochets. So we're going to do 26 single crochets until we reach this stitch marker over here. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert your hook through the 2 loops, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So I'm just going to continue that, and I'll see you guys when I reach my stitch marker over here. Now that I've reached my stitch marker, I'm going to take it off, and we're going to increase in that stitch 2. So we're going to put 2 single crochets in this next stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and insert your hook in the same hole, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do the exact same thing on this next stitch, so 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So that's 1, and insert your hook again in the same hole. That's 2. In this next stitch, we're just going to do 1 single crochet. We're not going to increase. And in the 2 remaining stitches, we're going to increase. So we're going to do 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert your hook in the same hole, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to take off this stitch marker, and we're going to do 2 single crochets in this stitch, 1, and insert your hook in the same hole, and 2. And now we're going to continue and do 26 single crochets until we reach this stitch marker over here. So insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so I'll see you guys when I reach my stitch marker over here. I've now done my 26 single crochets, and I've reached my stitch marker here. I'm going to take it off. So we're going to make an increase over here. So we're going to insert our hook and do 2 single crochets in the same hole. That's 2. We're going to do the same thing on this next stitch, 2 single crochets in the same hole, 1 and 2. And we're going to make 1 single crochet in the remaining stitch. So take off your stitch marker and do a single crochet in there. And we're going to put back our stitch marker because this is the last stitch. And we're going to finish this second row with a slip stitch. So we're going to take off our stitch marker from our first stitch. Insert your hook in there, yarn over, pull through all the loops on your hook, chain 1. Now for this third row, we're only going to do single crochets all around. Insert your hook in the same hole that you've done your slip stitch in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And put your stitch marker back in your first stitch, and we're just gonna continue making single crochets all around. So I'll see you guys when I'm done making single crochets all around. So I'm about to do my last stitch of row 3. I'm going to take off this stitch marker and insert my hook in there and do my last single crochet. We're going to put back our stitch marker in the last stitch, and we're going to slip stitch. And chain 1. So now the next step, we're going to make a row of single crochets, but in the front loop. So over here you can see that we have 2 loops. We're going to crochet in the front one, so this one here and not the back one. So insert your hook in the front loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and we're going to put a stitch marker on this first stitch. Again, front loop, back loop, insert your hook in the front loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, insert your hook in the front loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. I'll show you one last time. So this is the back loop, this is the front loop, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And so you're just going to repeat that all the way through, all around, until you reach this last stitch marker. And now I have one left to do, so I'm going to take off the stitch marker and make a single crochet in the front loop. And I'm going to put back this stitch marker. So now this side over here is the outside of the bag. So if you don't want to get confused, you can put, let's say, like a little stitch marker over here anywhere you want, so you know that the side with the stitch marker is the outside of the bag. So we're going to do a slip stitch. So we're going to take off this stitch marker, insert our hook, yarn over, and pull through. We're going to chain 1, and this is where it gets a bit more tricky. So we're going to start making thermal stitches. So I'll show you how to make a thermal stitch. So you insert your hook in the back loop. So from now on we're going to insert in the back loop. So insert your hook in the back loop over here, and you can see that you have another loop further down, and all the stitches have another loop further down. So this is your work. If you just turn it a little, you can see that there's 2 loops. So you're going to yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through. And you're going to take a stitch marker and put a stitch marker over the 2 loops created. So one here and one here. The first row of thermal stitch is always the hardest, and it gets easier from row to row. So once again, so this is the outside of the bag. You're going to insert your hook in the back loop and in the other loop further down. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Again, back loop, insert your hook, and insert your hook. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Back loop, insert your hook here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So the thermal stitch creates a thicker stitch because it's like you're doing a double layer. So next stitch, insert your hook in the back loop and come insert it in the back loop. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Okay, so I'll show you one last time. Back loop and back loop. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So I'll continue doing that all around until I reach my last stitch marker over here. So here I have one stitch left to do, so I'm going to take off this stitch marker, insert my hook in the back loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and so we're going to put our stitch marker over here and over here like this. So now we're back at square one. We're going to take off this stitch marker over here and do a regular slip stitch. So put your hook through the 2 loops over here, yarn over, pull through, and chain 1. And we're going to put the stitch marker back in here. So now the next step is to turn your work. So now you have the inside part facing you. So we used to have this facing us. Now we're just going to turn it and have the inside part facing us. So this stitch marker is where we have to put our first stitch. So we're going to take off this stitch marker, insert our hook through, and insert your hook through here too, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and we're going to put back the stitch marker. Like this. So we're going to continue that. Insert your hook. So we insert our hook over here and over here. So we're just going to do that all around. So I'll do that and I'll see you guys when I reach this stitch marker over here. So I'm about to do the last stitch, so I'm going to take my stitch marker off. So every time you finish a row, you're going to do a slip stitch, chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work. So now we're going to do the slip stitch. So I'm going to take off this stitch marker over here. Oh, and first we should put a stitch marker in our last stitch, like this. Slip stitch and chain 1. And we're going to put a stitch marker back like this. This is the inside of the bag because we don't have the stitch marker here. So we're going to turn it, and this is the outside of the bag. And we're just going to repeat the same steps. Skip this one because this is the slip stitch. So we're going to take the stitch marker off. So insert your hook where your stitch marker was. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and put your stitch marker back like this. So you insert once again your hook in the back loop and underneath. So just continue these steps. So I'll show you one last time how to slip stitch and start a new row. And so I'll see you guys when I reach this stitch marker here. So I'm about to do my last stitch here. I'm going to take off the stitch marker, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Put your stitch marker back in your last stitch, and you can make a slip stitch where your stitch marker is. So take off your stitch marker, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through, and chain 1. You can put back your stitch marker over here, and now it's time to turn your work. So this is the outside part. We're just gonna turn it, and now you have the inside part facing you. So now we're gonna take this stitch marker off, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Put your stitch marker back on and continue making thermal stitches. So in total we've done 7 rows and we have 34 to make, so that means we have 27 more rows to make. And these 27 rows, we're just going to repeat these same step that I just showed you, so which is the thermal stitch all over. Then you're gonna slip stitch and chain 1, then you're gonna turn your work. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the 27 remaining rows to do, and I'll see you guys when I'm done doing that. Okay, so I'm about to do my last stitches here. Okay. So when you're done, it should look something like this. If you feel like this is too small for you or too big, you can always add some rows or do less rows. If I do a little close-up, it looks like this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pull some yarn and cut it. Also, if you prefer the other side, you can always just turn it around and use this side for your bag. I just prefer the other side. And now we're just going to pass this through a stitch. So I'm just going to insert my hook here and insert this yarn inside of the bag. And later on you can just hide it inside of the bag. So the next step is to start doing the strap. So you're gonna lay your work flat and look it from above. If you look it from above, you'll see that you have one stitch in the middle, which is this one, and over here you have one stitch in the middle. So we're going to put stitch markers there. We're going to take them off shortly. So I'm going to put a stitch marker here. And the stitch marker and the other middle part. After this, we're going to count 12 stitches over here and 12 stitches on the other side, not counting this one. So if we don't count this stitch, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12, put a stitch marker there. Now on the other side, skip this stitch here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12 over here. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12. So this one's a bit trickier because we have the slip stitch over here. So the slip stitch doesn't count as a stitch, so we're going to start it at the next one. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12. You can take these off. And keep these 4 stitch markers. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off a stitch marker. So we're going to take it off. So you're going to insert your hook where your stitch marker was, like this. And you're going to put through some yarn. So take some yarn, put it on your hook, and pull. And you're going to chain 1. Now what we're going to do is we're basically going to continue doing the thermal stitch. So you're going to insert your hook through the 2 loops. I'm going to continue and I'm going to see you guys when I reach the end over here. So just continue doing thermal stitches. Okay, so I've reached my stitch marker over here. I'm going to take it off. And on this last stitch here, we're going to do a slip stitch. So put your hook through, yarn over, and pull through. So if you count from this slip stitch to the chain 1 over here, you should have 25 stitches. So now you're just going to turn your work, and we're not going to chain 1. So as you can see here, we have 1 stitch over here. So we're going to skip the first stitch and do a slip stitch on the second one. So insert your hook and over here, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. So we're going to continue doing thermal stitch. So I'm going to continue doing that, and I'll see you guys when I reach the end over here. Over here was our chain 1 from the beginning, and because we've skipped the first stitch on the other side, we're going to skip this chain, and we're going to do a slip stitch on the stitch before. So we're just going to insert our hook here, yarn over, and pull through, and we're going to skip this last chain. So now we're going to turn our work. So we're going to repeat the same steps. So over here, the first stitch over here, we're going to skip it, and we're going to do a slip stitch on the second one. So insert your hook in the second one, yarn over, and pull through. And we're going to restart doing the thermal stitch. And I'll see you guys when I reach the end over here. So over here I have 2 stitches left. We're going to do a slip stitch on this next stitch, and we're going to skip the last one. Make a slip stitch and turn your work. So you're basically just going to have to repeat these exact same steps until you have 5 stitches left on your row, which means that you're going to have 2 slip stitches on both ends and 3 thermal stitches in the middle, which is 5 in total. So over here you're just going to skip this first stitch and do a slip stitch on the second one, continue doing thermal stitches, do a slip stitch in the one before the last stitch, and skip this last stitch, and repeat that until you have 5 stitches left. So now I have 5 stitches left. So I have this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. Now what we're going to do is turn our work. So this time we're not going to make a slip stitch. So insert your hook in the second stitch and make a thermal stitch, another thermal stitch, that's 2, and another thermal stitch, that's 3. And now we're going to chain 1, turn our work, skip the chain, insert our hook in the second one. So skip the chain, insert here, yarn over, pull through, and make a thermal stitch, another thermal stitch, and another thermal stitch. Chain 1, turn your work, skip your chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and like this. So we're done with this side. So you can pull up some yarn and cut it. And we're going to repeat these exact same steps on the other side, but the only difference is that we're not going to cut the yarn like we've done over here. Okay, so I've done the other side. Here I have my 5 stitches left. So what we're going to do now, we're only going to do 3 thermal stitches, and that's going to start creating the little strap. So over here, I'm just going to turn my work, skip the first stitch here and insert it in the second one, and do a thermal stitch, 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to chain 1, turn the work, skip the chain, insert your hook, and do a thermal stitch. And you're going to chain 1. So you're basically going to repeat these steps until you have a strap that has 40 centimeters. So here I'm done doing my 40 centimeters long strap. So what we're going to do is that we're going to pull some yarn, and we're going to cut it. Now you can pass your yarn through your needle. So remember we did 3 stitches here and 3 stitches here. So we're going to pass this yarn through the little loop here, like this. We can adjust everything at the end. Now we're going to pass it through this second loop here and through this second loop over here, like this. And now we're going to pass it through this third loop here and through this third loop here. So as you can see, it still leaves a little gap like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass the yarn through this loop like this. Then on the second one here and on the second one on the bottom. And on this third one here. And we're going to do the same thing on the side, over here and over here. Like this. So now we're going to turn our work and sew in the inside part here, because as you can see there's a little gap. So we're also going to pass the yarn through here and through the one on top. Just like this. And the last step is that I just pass the yarn through like this. So I did that just for these two pieces of yarn to be closer together so I can make a knot. So I'm gonna do that. And the last step is just to weave in the ends inside of the bag. So currently this is what we have. I'm gonna take off this stitch marker because we don't need it anymore. And now the last step we have to do is clean up these edges. So I'm just going to take some yarn and I'm going to insert my hook in the base of the strap. So about here, take the yarn and pull it through. And now what I do is just do single crochets all around here. And there's no specific place that I insert the hook at. I just try to make one in the middle and one where there's these little things popping out. So one in the middle, one in these little things, one in the middle, one in these little things. So I just like insert my hook where I can and make a single crochet. Then somewhere around here. Then in the middle. Then one in this little thing. Then one in the middle. One in this little thing. And then when you get to this middle part here, you can insert your hook in these little stitches. So like this. Next one is this one here. So I'll continue doing single crochets until I reach the end here, and I'm gonna show you how to end it. So here I've done my last single crochet. I'm just gonna pull some yarn, cut it. So I pass the end through my needle, and you're just going to come insert it on your strap over here like this, and you can weave it at the end. So this is what it looks like right now. As you can see, the edges are much cleaner. And the last thing we're going to do, so this step you can skip it if you don't want to do it, but I think it looks super nice. So I take the same brand of yarn but in another color, and I'll come and insert my hook in the same spot we inserted it before, like this. And we're just going to do slip stitches all over. So you insert your hook through both loops, yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook, insert your hook through both loops, yarn over, pull through all the loops, insert your hook like this, and you're just gonna have to do that all over. Here I've done my last slip stitch. I'm gonna pull some yarn, cut it, and we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna put our yarn through our little needle and insert it in the same hole that we've done before, just like this. And now you can do a knot with these two little tails and weave them inside of your bag, and you can do the same thing on the other side here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, and if you don't remember how to do it, you can just watch back the video. So here you have the final result. I hope you enjoyed making this bag. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye.